Hello and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Aiden Proctor. I am the head of bus products at Velociti. I'm here today to introduce you to a new feature in our timetabling module, formerly known as OmniTimes, which is an integration with the CitySwift platform. First of all, I'm going to start with a little bit of background information about timetables and updating timetables. As you already know, the timetabling application, formerly known as OmniTimes, is used to create timetables. Those timetables then go out into the real world and are operated. And whilst being operated in the real world and in real time, AVL data is being collected. Now that data is then collected and fed to systems like CitySwift that use it to analyze and produce revised or suggested running times, revised suggested timetables that will operate more reliably. The challenge is then to get that data back into the scheduling software like our timetable application. And we already have capabilities to import running times and time bands from CitySwift. So the point of this new feature is to make that process much easier. Here is the process. So now the user will be able to do all their analysis in the CitySwift Evolve platform and output an actual timetable. We no longer need to output running times and time bands, we output the whole timetable. The user saves that, which is a CSV file, into the relevant job folder. So that would be your OT folder or your job folder in Hub. Then open up the timetabling application, open up the timetable you want to update, navigate to File, Import, CitySwift, select the CSV file that you're going to use to update that timetable, and then the timetabling application performs the update and updates the timetable. It's very simple. Let's have a look at it in practice. And here we have a timetable. This is a timetable for a service in Belfast. I'm just looking at the timing points at the moment. I do have all my bus stop times. The process works by checking against two fundamental pieces of information. One is stop data. So the output from CitySwift Evolve and the list of stops in OmniTimes have to match. So we are looking for the NAPTAN code in the output to match with the NAPTAN code here in the timetable. So if the stops lists are different, or if there are no stops in the OmniTimes timetable, the import process will fail. The process also relies on having the original timetable data in place in the output. And as we'll see in a moment when we look at the CitySwift output, we have the original times and we have the new times. So the timetabling application is comparing what it currently knows against what the new timetable is going to be. It uses that, cross-checking with the stop data to update the timetable. This whole process is predicated on the process of data flowing from the timetable application to the CitySwift platform in the first place, so that the schedule in the CitySwift platform originated in the timetabling application, and then that timetable is then fed back into the timetabling application. So it is all reliant on the cyclical flow of data. This integration method is not well suited to designing new timetables or significantly altered timetables. It all really works based on updating existing timetables. That'll make a little bit more sense when we look at an output file from Evolve. So this is the output from Evolve for the timetable, the G1 timetable that we are looking at in the timetabling application. We have the list of stops, but crucially, we have the stop numbers. This is very important, as I've already mentioned. These stop numbers have to match with the stop numbers here in the timetabling application. For each trip, we have both the current and the new. So the current times will match the times in the existing timetable, as we can see here and here with this trip. Then the new times are the times of the timetable revision, the times that have been analysed and output by the CitySwift platform. ETM codes are also included. And again, they must have come from the original timetable. They're also part of this matching process. Additionally, recovery layover time is also included in the information that comes back from CitySwift. At the moment in the timetable, there are no layover times. These will also be added during this process. So the process is simple. We're going to update this timetable. So we go into File, Import, CitySwift. We see a list of all the different CSV files that are available to us to do our update. We select the correct CSV output and we click Import. When we click Import, look out for these times changing. It's all very quick. And that's the process updated. And all the times have been updated in this timetable. However, this update process only updates the timing points, which is what we can see here. When we open this up to see the stops, we haven't updated all the stop times. To update the stop times, we can either now open this timetable in the mapping application and save the timetable again, which recalculates all the intermediate stop times, or we can use the estimate missing stop times function in the intermediate times window to estimate the intermediate stop times. And when we click OK, that will update the stop times for that pattern. You'll notice as well that as part of this process, the intermediate stop times and the intermediate time bands have all been automatically regenerated by the timetabling application. Now let's have a look at a different timetable. So now we are looking at a different timetable. This is service 10A, 10B, 10H. We have 3 different patterns of operation in this timetable, and we're going to be able to update each one of those at the same time. So here is the CitySwift output from that timetable. Again, we have all the stop codes, and we have the list of stops, and we have all the current trips. A couple of important notes to observe here. The stops are not in the same order in this CitySwift output against the original in the timetabling application. That's okay. That's fine as long as the stop codes are matched. The trips are also not in the same order. So if we just shrink this down a bit, we can see that the trips are actually in a slightly different order in the original timetable to the way that they come out in the CitySwift export. But again, that's fine. That doesn't matter. We can still do the output and update as long as we've got the original information in this CSV output. Another feature of this update is that we can use it to amend trips. So we can curtail trips, we can add trips, and we can delete trips. So observe the first trip here, which matches our first trip over here. Our new time here, as well as updating the time, also curtails the trip. That will be reflected in the updated timetable. Here at 8:50, we have a trip with no current trip times, but a set of new times. This is a new trip. This process will add this trip into our timetable. Observe that we do not have an 8:50 trip in the schedule here. And as we move further along, our trip at 10:45, which is over here, has no new times in the output. That trip will therefore be deleted as part of this process. So I'm going to do the update now. Observe this trip will get curtailed. We will add a new trip in here at 8:50 and we will remove the 10:45. And there we go. That's the update complete. The trip has been curtailed. New 8:50 trip has been added and the 10:45 trip has been deleted. One final point, as you will have noticed, we have referred to this as phase 1. There is a phase 2 to come later on in the year. More information will be released as soon as that update is available. Thank you for watching. See you on the next webinar.